My name is Gabrielle Garcia. Gabby to my friends. I'm like your typical college student. For fun, I hang out with my two best friends, Regina and Chase. And I play volleyball. At least I did, until I had an accident. While I was practicing with my team, I got a strange nosebleed and passed out. When I woke up, my dad and super controlling mom were there. Talk about embarrassing. I mean, I've never been sick in my life, so they were totally overreacting. At least, that's what I thought at the time. A few days later, I was chilling in my room when my dad shows up out of the blue. That's fine, but suddenly he injected me with something. Before I could tell him how not cool that was, he fell over. He'd been shot. That's when my world turned upside down and everything changed forever. Whoa, what the actual hell? Before I could even process things, a couple of men in black wannabes burst in and started shooting. They were actually trying to kill me, and the head witch in charge totally bragged about shooting my dad. Oh, it was on. Something inside me snapped. I was out of control. I almost killed their leader too, but something she said hit me hard. She called me a monster, and I did the only thing I could do, so I ran away. My dad gave me a thumb drive before he died. The thumb drive was a message that really changed everything. My whole life has been a lie. I was born with a rare genetic disorder called Crab disease. I should have died while I was just a baby. Except my parents were both super brilliant scientists that worked for this super secret organization. My mom was apparently able to genetically splice my DNA with that of a white widow spider. This stopped the disease from progressing, and it's the reason my hair is white. It didn't give me powers or anything, but it's also why I was never sick growing up. It seems that the splice was a band-aid and not a cure. My disease had progressed beyond what the white widow DNA could cope with, and I was days away from death. My dad's area of expertise was nanotechnology. So he stole some of his company's samples and programmed them for me to try to save my life. Regina, who totally caught me, thinks the nanites must have interacted with the White Widow DNA. Before that realization could sink in, the jerks from the group, that crazy organization my parents secretly worked for, sent a drama queen looking to throw some shade my way. She called herself Pulse, and she was a total pain in the butt. Literally. Seems electricity can be like my kryptonite or whatever. We had an epic battle, and when she realized she couldn't beat me straight up, she set off an EMP to try to shut me down. I managed to get out of there in time, barely. Then I took that bitch out. On the plus side, she provided me with some clues I could follow up on. A key card to a parking garage and an invitation to a masquerade ball. I decided to investigate the parking garage, but first, I needed a way to be super sneaky. Sure, I like my white armor, but it's not exactly the greatest for snooping around. Turns out, I can change the color to black, but doing it gives me a huge headache and I have to concentrate hard to keep it that way. Still, if all I'm doing is watching, I can totally manage that. That's when I spotted some crazy woman in red armor that looked a bit like mine enter the place. I followed her to a freaky high-tech door. She used a key card, like the one I had, to go in. Score! But unfortunately, it also required a palm print. While I was striking out, Regina found out about the masquerade ball. The world's first real-life superhero, Andromeda, was gonna be there. Maybe Regina had read too many comic books, because she suggested I sneak in and try to team up with Andromeda. One super hot costume change later, and yours truly was on point and ready to infiltrate a party that might be filled with the very people who killed my parents. It was totally worth it. Andromeda is the real deal. After she heard my story, she agreed to help me take down the group. I feel like I found a real sister in her. I trust her completely. Unfortunately, instead of Andromeda, the crazy woman in red armor showed up, and she totally kicked my butt. I mean, it wasn't even a contest. I barely made it out alive. She acted like she had killed Andromeda too, but thankfully that turned out to be a lie. Andromeda was busy helping to save lives from a fire across town. So while I'm sad we didn't get to team up yet, I'm sure we'll meet again soon. So where does that leave me now? My clues have both washed out, and who knows what other problems are brewing for me to face. Maybe I'm just being dramatic, but I can feel it in my blood. Still, I've got to stay positive. After all, I'm just learning what I can do. And somehow, some way, I will find answers. And the group will pay for what they've done. Then they will learn. Don't mess with White Widow.